So, good evening, everybody. I think we are live. I hope you can all hear me. So, I hope you've all had a wonderful Sunday, and I hope it's a good Sunday for those of you further west of me in North and South America. Okay, that's brilliant to have you all. So, we're going to continue with this article about cheating. There are only 4 questions left in it, so it's not going to take very long. And then we're going to do one about a superfood from barley. Count Beauty. Good, I beat you today. That's brilliant. Great to have you with us. Good evening, Marcelin. Great to have you as well. And Roland, good evening as well. And Ben, hi there, Ben. Great to have you. And Manisco as well, wonderful. So, and Lukash, great to see you, Lukash. And Amin, thank you for your subscription to Patreon, Amin, by the way. Good evening, David Lutz, great to have you as well. Okay, so we're going to... Yes, here comes the first question, brilliant, 8 o'clock. And I'm fine, thank you, Ben. Good evening, Saal. Good evening. So, here we go. Kafai and Fields explain that scamming is an activity that is directed at other players and not the design of the game, and also speculate that it could be linked to cyberbullying, cyber-intimidation, cyber-tyranny, cyber-badgering. They say that the high rates of scamming in the game demonstrates the need to educate children about the effects of their actions. So, hi there, Vibes, and hi there, Luna, and shalom to you, Renyard. Wonderful to see you all. Oh, yes, we got lots of people coming in now. It's starting to take off. That's great. I think my connection's a little slow tonight. Well, we'll see. So, yes, let me read this again. Kafai and Fields explain that scamming is an activity that is directed at other players and not the design of the game, and also speculate that it could be linked to cyberbullying, cyber-intimidation, cyber-tyranny, cyber-badgering. They say that the high rates of scamming in the game demonstrates... And another little question for you, why is this demonstrates singular? To the need to educate children about the effects of their actions. Okay, it looks like we're going to have a landslide in favour of cyberbullying. We've got cyberbullying for Count, for Vibes, for Roland. Good evening, Adedej. Wow, I think I'm going to just call you Adedej. Okay, and good. So cyberbullying for Vitali, for Patricia, and for Maria T, and Gertrudis, and Manji, and Amin as well. Yeah, and for Renyard as well. Okay, so I think you're all pretty clear about that. What is this verb to badger? Yeah, and my other question is, why is this demonstrates third person? And Camilo goes for cyberbullying. High rate singular. Yes, that the high rate of scamming. I think that, so that's a good answer, Vibes. The high rate of scamming in the game, I think all of this is acting as a subject, demonstrates. Good evening, Razgar. Great to see you. So, advertise. I'm not quite with that one. Okay, yeah, it's so. Very, very definitely, you all seem to have got this. The answer is cyber-bullying. So, to badger, as Amin and Patricia say, to pester persistently. So, B-U-L-L-Y-I-N-G. Badgering means pestering, absolutely. Like to nag. Oh, I like that synonym, Vibes. Okay, so... yeah, cyberbullying. This is the collocation, very definitely. So, good evening, Funda. Great to have you. So, let's go on to the next one. A badger is a mammal as well. Yeah, they live around my house. To badger, to try to persuade by asking again and again. Thank you, Vitali. And Rizgar says, badger, bother, harass. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. So, aside from multiplayer games, cheating might make single-player games better and doesn't come with, for, by, at the cost of another player's enjoyment. When playing alone, cheating can repair mood, provide stress relief, and satisfy psychological needs. Here. So, aside from multiplayer games, cheating might make single-player games better and doesn't come with, come for, come by, come at the cost of another player's enjoyment. When playing alone, cheating can repair moods, provide stress relief, and satisfy psychological needs. So, we've got at for Vitali. A badger is a very courageous animal. Yes, it can be pretty fierce. And so at for Vitali, at for Vibes, for Count Beauty, at for Amin and Manji. Intimidation. Let's see, it could be cyber-intimidation, Patricia, but cyber-bullying is a collocation that you'll find in the papers all over, and that's why it's just a better answer. So David Lutz goes for at, and so does Luna and Camillo. Renyard says come at the cost. Yes. Maria Traspasso for at, so says Funda, and Roland and Toprak as well. Good evening, Toprak, and head through this. Yes. Comes with the cost of. I guess Vibes that with would work, but comes at the cost of is a much better answer. Yeah, and that's the point. So Dan's goes for at, and so does Patricia Rizgar, and goes for with, and Toprak's now wondering, Pasha goes for with. To come at, to attack, but notice here it's at the cost of. Here. At the cost of, thank you, at the expense of. That's very good, Vitali. You took the words right out of my mouth. I love it. Yeah, I think come with the cost of. It could be with, but at is a much better, and it collocates so much better at the cost of. Nice to see you, Malak. And let's put the next one up. Next one's going to be, I think you're going to get the next one. Okay, so notice all of you, to come at the cost of. Yeah, I think this meal comes with a free drink. Yeah, but come at the cost of, at a high cost. That's the idea, P. Consalvo puts this down to several reasons. Firstly, games are less than perfect. A small flaw, blemish, stain, blight, or oversight might mean a player gets stuck, and that's no fun for anyone. So there are a couple of things to look at here. So puts this down to, notice this phrasal, to put down to. I'd like the meaning of that. And also this word oversight, from the verb to oversee. Yeah, I'd like two meanings for oversight as well. So let's see. Vitali goes for floor, so does Maria T, and Count and Camillo. Put down to attribute to. That's perfect. So Consalvo puts this down to, gives the reason for this, attributes the reason to. Yeah? So Consalvo attributes this to several reasons. He puts it down to. And we've got floor for Renyard, Amin, Manji, Roland, and hi there, I think that's lamb, but it could be yam. And Toprak says no idea. Due to. Puts this down to, due to is fairly close, P. Yeah? So Rizgar goes for flaw and blemish. And Pepax is here as well. Great to see you, Pepax. Gedrudis goes for flaw, and so does Patricia. Yeah, would blemish work? I think so, but to me a blemish is more normally something visual. Yeah, you could use blemish here, but I think a flaw is a better word. I think a blemish is normally more visual. Okay, oversight, omission, disregard. What's the other meaning though, Vitali? Okay, a flaw. What's the difference between a blemish and a flaw? A flaw is a basic mistake in something, whereas I think a blemish is something that makes something imperfect, but I think more normally visually. And Luna goes for blight. Okay, a blight is actually a disease that attacks plants. Yeah, but a blight is not normally small. So, for example, drugs are a blight on society. A blemish on the face or the skin. That's it, Patricia. I guess it would work. A flaw, a pitfall. A pitfall's an unseen danger. A flaw is a structural mistake in it. The value of diamonds is normally determined by the number of flaws in the diamond. Yeah, so a blight on society, as Roland says, and Renyard watched the video. A facial blemish, yeah. A stain, well, I ate earlier and I've got a stain on my t-shirt. Yeah. A blunder is a silly mistake, yeah. I blundered, yeah. I made a silly mistake. Yeah. Batman Beyond villain. Thank you, Slipknot. A pitfall and unseen danger. Flawless victory in Mortal Kombat. Yes, where I guess you don't make any mistakes at all. Okay, this is great. So oversight is derived from oversee. To see the work is properly done. Thank you for the other meaning. So an overseer oversees a job. This is like a manager or a foreman. They oversee a job. But an oversight can also be something that you don't see. Yeah, so oversight can go both ways. Yeah, not buying any salt today was an oversight, so we're going to have to have our meal without salt. It was a mistake. It's something I didn't see. Whereas an overseer or a manager oversees a project, and his oversight is very important. Okay, so a stain on someone's character, as Patricia says, that's very good. So it's a flaw, Haddy. Oh, I haven't been writing the answers, have I? Flaw. Like overlook. Exactly, Segundo. That's the point. A blunder is a terrible mistake. Yeah, is a silly mistake. Yeah, if you're playing chess, maybe you make a blunder, a silly mistake. Yes, to overlook. Overlook can work like that the same way as well, Segundo. So, unfortunately, Funda, it's a flaw. A flaw is a basic mistake. A mistake, there's a flaw in your logic. There's a flaw in the pattern. Blundering fools. Yeah, fools are always making mistakes, Slipknot. Consalvo says that this is overwhelmingly the reason most people cheat. She compares this to reading a book. If the reader has to fully understand a chapter before moving on to the next, people might lose interest and put the book down. Many games, though, are designed so that a player has to complete a level before moving on. Unlike a book, the difficult bits can't be leaped, escaped, skipped, shrugged off. An enormous faux pas. I love that definition, Patricia. Yeah, a faux pas, Roland. Yo, Leffy, great to have you. So, Vibe says skipped. David Lutz says skipped. Tausef says skipped. Count Beauty goes for shrugged off. Good evening, Fernando. Vicencio. Via Vicencio. And Vitali goes for skipped. Manny goes for skipped. Amin and Toprak for skipped. To skip the difficult part, says Manny. Fernando goes for skipped, and Hadi for skipped as well. Great to see you, Hadi. And skipped for Leffy, for Camillo, for Roland, for Maria T, for Pepax, for Renyard. Leaped like a frog. Says Lukash. And skip for Manji. And skipped for Luna and Gedrudis. Good evening, Jadef. And Razgar says shrugged off. And Patricia goes for shrugged off as well. And Funda says skipped. Okay, so let's look at these. Leaped. You don't normally leap a bit. Leap is more normally something physical. Yeah, but you're always really good, David Lutz. You're always really good. To leap means to jump. The difficult bits can't be leapt. Maybe, but I'm not very happy with it. Yeah, you've got a leap year, which is metaphorical as well, where there are an extra day in February. The difficult bits can't be escaped. To escape, I would put a from there. Can't be escaped from. To shrug off, so we got a definition of shrug off from Roland. To show that something does not upset you. Shrugged off feels like something you do with your hands, maybe, but you can shrug off a difficulty, is get rid of something, make it go very easily. Yeah? Skip to the loo, my darling. Woo-hoo, skip to my loo, skip to my loo. Wow, I'm impressed, Leffy. You're really into British culture now. Malek says skipped. Okay, a leap of faith, a jump of faith, yeah. But normally we use to skip the ads. Yes, it normally on YouTube it says skip the ads, very definitely. To skip is to jump over, is to not do. Have you ever skipped class? Yeah. It's a very common British skipping song. So to shrug off is to get rid of a difficulty, to push it away, like water off a duck's back. Yeah, you've seen a duck shrug the water off its back. Okay, to shrug something off. Yeah, to shrug is to lift your shoulders. The Gallic shrug, I love it. So the answer is skipped, very definitely. Have you ever skipped class? Yeah. I would go further than that, Roland. I would make them illegal, but that's a different question. Okay, so P says to skip dinner. I've got loads of videos about the conditional JDev. Yeah? Okay. To brush off. Yes. I think these are good synonyms. I mean. Skip lessons. Bunk off school. Play hooky, very definitely. Thank you, Vitali. Avoided. Yes, avoided is a good synonym, very definitely, Slipknot. So, experiment. Okay, we've got some answers. Some games are boring too, says Consalvo, and it might be more fun to play God and trial, experiment, test, probe with the game. Players can show their creativity by finding new ways to play the game, using cheats to set new boundaries. Thank you, Lemia. Okay, so let's see. Pepax goes for experiment, so does Count Beauty and Vitali. Segundo says trial. Manny for experiment, to play truant. Okay, Segundo goes for trial. Tausef for trial, Rizgar for experiment. You love The Sims, Pepax. Okay, it's a fun game. Renyard says experiment with, and that's a really good point. This with is a very important thing. Head through this for experiments, to play truant, to skip class. And I paid the price. Yep, you paid the price. Okay, it reminds you of Sims, of the Sims, Pepax, the. I know for you, the word the, it can be a real problem. Thank you, Lamia. And, okay, probe into, says Vibe. Top rack goes for experiment. Reminds. So, okay. And experiment for Roland, for Camillo, for Amin, for Slipknot, for Luna, for Francisco. Experiment for Patricia, for Manji, and for Hadi. Very definitely. Experiment. Hi King, great to have you. It's got to be experiment because it's experiment with. And trial, well, to trial is to test something new to see if it works. Okay, so to try something if it works. To test without the with. Yeah, to test the game. And to probe into the game. The community has spoken. What a blunder. The Sims, now you know. Yes, very definitely. So, Leffy said something about an echo. No, I've only got one microphone on. Because that's something that can happen. Trial and error. Okay, so is this the last one? I believe it is. To experiment with. To control and to regulate. I think control is more general, Priyash. Yeah, whereas regulate is normally a written rule or something like that. The screen's gone blurry. I wonder why. It may be something to do with my connection. To shake. Okay, so let's see. Okay. If all that is at stake, hazard, wager, chance, interest, it is imaginary currency or our own pride for completing a game fairly. Maybe cheating isn't so bad. The deceptive Wyvillians who manipulated the market were certainly demonstrating their creativity. Let's hope that they also learned where the boundary is between right and wrong. So, I think we've got a landslide here. So, at stake for Segundo, for Count, for Vitali, for Vibes, for Hadi, for Luna, for Manny, for Maria T, for Amin, for Francisco, for Roland, for Renyard. Okay. Thank you, Leffy. Roland says, at peril. At peril would work, yes. Okay. Manji says stake, Camillo says stake. Yep. Okay, but that's okay. If the answer's the right answer, it's the right answer, Pepax. At stake. At risk. I was thinking about putting risk here, David, but it fits too well. Does echo mean to repeat others? Yes, to echo somebody. One of my favourite videos that I've made, and I've made thousands, is the one about echo questions. So, for example, if somebody asks you a question, what time is it? You can answer them. What time is it? Yeah, when somebody says something, you can just repeat exactly what they've said to start with. Yeah, so an echo question is where you just repeat the question. It also gives you time to think about the answer. Yeah, and this is the idea of echo, to repeat others, Renyard. So, and Razgar goes for stake. Yes, something is at stake. Yeah. Echo somebody's point. That's a nice one. Verbatim. Okay, and that's the end. So, to venture. At venture. To venture, Abdul, is more normally to try something new, to be brave with something. Yeah, repeating the exact word. Yeah, or the exact words. Yeah, I like echo questions. Yeah, so effectively when you write something here in the chat, I echo exactly what you've said. Okay, so actually I'm just going to put the link to this here in the chat and paste. A business venture. In boundaries between D and R is a schwa and not an E and Z ending right. Boundaries, 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 boundaries. Yep, there is a schwa in there. Boundaries, 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 boundaries. It can go both ways, vibes. Okay, so the return of barley's lost superfood. Currency is the money that they use to play in the game, vibes. Mirroring, says P. Yes, very definitely. Sightseeing and tourism. Well, you could live in a place and go sightseeing, whereas a tourist normally goes to somewhere else. So, the return of barley's lost superfood. During COVID-19, people once again began to bolt onto, latch onto, buckle onto, clamp onto the benefits of Moringa, a tree that's a highly nutritious food, medicine, and magical talisman, all mashed, rolled, crushed, squeezed into one. So, we've got latch for Vitali, for Count, for Hadi, for David Lutz, and Vitali and David also go for rolled. Pepak says clamp. Give me a new... The chairs. I'll write it down, otherwise I'll forget it. The chairs. Okay, and... Okay, so Pepak says clamp, Vibes goes for latch onto, Hadi for rolled into one, Razgar for latch onto, P for latch onto, Fernando for clamp, and latch and rolled for Leffy, latch and rolled for Jedrudis, latch onto for Francisco, squeezed for the second one for Count, latch onto for Roland, clamp for Suman, Manji for latch. And Pepax goes for mashed. Ooh. You've never heard of those 4 words before. This is brilliant. So Francisco latch onto, rolled into, Luna for latch, Manji for rolled, and latch onto, to suss out, to tumble to. Okay, to clamp down on, says P. That's very good. To latch onto. To embrace. Okay, so very clearly. Yeah. No worries, Ronan. Great to have you here. That's what the recordings are for. Okay, so this is a good question. Latch onto is to understand and to start to use, to embrace. Yeah, so he latched onto the meaning of what I was saying. He latched onto the way to do this work. A latch is something that closes a door, not the lock, but the bit that just holds it shut, and that's a latch. Yeah, a bolt you move across, and if the door's bolted, then you can't open it without unbolting it. But if it's latched, then you can open it, but it holds itself shut. Yeah, and Leffy says latch onto the teat. This is what babies do. They hold onto the teat. Okay, to buckle onto. You don't buckle onto something. You buckle down, or you buckle up. Yeah, but to buckle up, to fasten your safety belts, to do up the buckle, and then to clamp onto. Okay, and okay, to clamp is to hold very tightly. Liaison. Yes, I guess a liaison works, P. Yeah, where you latch onto something, you start to have a liaison with it. And then this second one, you're still a baby then. That's a good thing, Leffy. I love it. Yeah, normally buckle down to your work. Okay, and then in this second one, this is a collocation as well. rolled into one. Yeah, so I don't know. She's a mother, a teacher, and she's a mother and a teacher, both rolled into one, both inside the same thing. Yeah. I guess a mobile phone is a camera, a device to communicate, a device to go to into internet, an alarm clock, a flashlight, all rolled into one. Yeah. Yeah, I always get that wrong, by the way, Vitali. Yeah, to roll into one. Okay, so all in the same thing. I'll have a look at the chairs because I don't know it. Okay, so to roll various things into one, all with the same roll. Yeah, but there I'm using roll, R-O-L-E. Yeah, rolled into one. Absolutely, Patricia. Well done. Okay, so let's try the next one. Look at how fine those leaves are, says Decay, pointing up to the waving branches of a lanky, spindly, emaciated, narrow, weedy tree. They're so wispy that at first glance it's hard to imagine why Balinese people sometimes call this tree the broomstick of the gods. So look at how fine those leaves are, says Decay, pointing up to the waving branches of a lanky, spindly, emaciated, narrow, weedy tree. They're so wispy, like smoke or wisps of hair, that at first glance, at first look, it's hard to imagine why Balinese people sometimes call this tree the broomstick of the gods. So here we go, and spindly for Leffy and David, and double goes for weedy, and Banty goes for lanky, and Suman for weedy. Yeah, you did a double A. I love it, Manji. Lanky. Yeah. Okay, you're answering based on sound today. And count goes for weedy, like a spindle. Spindly, says Vitali. Hadi says spindly. Manny says lanky. Love Literature says spindly. Patricia says lanky. Fernando says spindly. Lanky, kinky, dinky, donkey. I love it. Can waving be an onomatopoeic word? Waving. Yes, because it's got lots of up and down sounds visually as well. I guess it could be. Yeah? So Luna doesn't know any of these except for narrow. And Rizgar goes for emaciated. So, a lanky tree, says Roland. Okay, so let's see. And Renyard goes for spindly. Oh, this is a great one. Lanky refers to hair. It also refers to people. Through this says no idea. So firstly, narrow. A tree's not narrow. Yeah? A street is narrow. A doorway is narrow. Yeah? Emaciated, somebody who is very thin, somebody who's starving to death is emaciated. Yeah? Weedy, I guess you could use this word weedy. A weed is a plant that you don't want. Yeah, this is a tough one. I quite agree. You could call somebody who's not big and strong, you could call them weedy. A weedy tree. I guess it works, but it's not very good. Oh, Patricia said tall and lanky, but spindly legs. So, lanky means very tall, but we normally, to me, Vitali, we use lanky to talk about somebody who's very tall. You could say somebody's hair is lanky, is long and straight. Yeah? Death camp prisoners were emaciated. I like Patricia's spindly legs. Emaciate is completely different to emaciate. Emaciate means to make very, very, very thin. Yeah? A stringy person. I guess you could double A. Yeah? A stringy person who's lanky and skinny. I was thinking about putting stringy here. Spindly, tall and weak. Okay, like a spindle. A spindle's normally is part of a sewing machine that goes round and round. Not a sewing machine, come on, how do I say Reco in English? A spinning wheel, and it goes round and round with the spinning wheel, and it's normally long and thin. Yeah, that's a spindle. But something spindly is long and thin. Yeah, to emancipate, to give freedom to. Okay, Peter Crouch is lanky. All basketball players are lanky. Emaciate due to malnutrition. A branchy tree. Okay, yes, you could say a branchy tree, but the meaning isn't right here. A branchy tree is one which has got lots of branches going out, and this one's spindly. It's tall and thin. His feet stick out of bed. Yes, because he's very lanky. I even know people whose nickname is Lanky because they're 2 meters 20 tall. Slender means attractively thin. Emaciated means extremely thin, like a starving guy. A bushy tree. Okay, yeah, a bushy tree. I like bushy. A branchy tree. I think bushy is probably a better word, Renyard. But so, very definitely, the answer here is spindly, from a spindle. Yes, Sleeping Beauty. That's a brilliant one. She pricked her finger on a spindle. I love it. Thank you, P. Yes. Okay, yes, that's the idea. Emaciated, very thin. Okay. Me, how tall are you? How tall am I? 180 something. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Next one I think is quite easy as well. You're a wonderful group as always. Slender, slim, thin goes over the top. Yeah, I'm never going to be slender, I have this feeling. So, the Moringa tree, Moringa oleifera, we were looking at, the Moringa tree we were looking at really was quite unremarkable. Less foxy, statuesque, cute, angelic than the rambutan tree nearby, and far less imposing than the mango trees on the other side of the road. No, not at all, Suman. Svelte means slender and thin. Lanky means very tall, tall and thin. Emaciated is a good word for gaunt. 175 says Leffy. And we're starting to get some answers. So let me read again. The Moringa tree we were looking at really was quite unremarkable. Less foxy, statuesque, cute, angelic than the rambutan tree nearby, and far less imposing than the mango trees on the other side of the road. So we've got statuesque for David Lutz, for Vitali. So, a legged, yeah, a long-legged person. Yeah, long-legged, double A. Count Beauty goes for statuesque. Yes, you're all becoming Shakespeare's, definitely. So statuesque for Abdul Karim, for Renyard, for Maria T. A guy shouldn't be slender. He should be big and strong. And Vitali, emaciated, undernourished. Patricia for statuesque. Statuesque. Pepax for statuesque. Majestic, that's a good synonym, David. Leffy goes for angelic. No, I think only your baby's angelic, Leffy. Less angelic. Woof. Okay, statuesque for Fernando, for Roland. Something immaculate and riveting. Statuesque, resembling a statue, says Rizgar. I like that definition. Statuesque for Manny and for Suman. Statuesque, picturesque. Yeah. But I think that's probably good. Does it come from French? Yeah, they both come from French, very definitely. So let's see. Let's look. You've all gone for statuesque. Foxy normally we talk about, well, the Americans say a foxy lady. That's a song by Jimi Hendrix. Yeah, foxy, good looking. Yeah. The Venus de Milo is very statuesque, absolutely, P. So foxy. No, foxy's a beautiful woman. Cute is a baby. Long-legged. Both ways vibes. The monumental. Yes, I guess it would fit. I think statuesque is probably better. Foxy, spunky, foxy lady, spunky. I don't know, you see, I think Madonna is very spunky, but I don't find her at all foxy. I think it's probably a matter of opinion. Foxy has the idea of elegant and sexy. Foxy. I would only use it for women, but burlesque as well, and Malak goes for statuesque. Use a French word whenever you want to sound fancy is a very good idea. Pulchritudinous lady, I love the word. Voluptuous. Voluptuous is big and fat and beautiful as well. Yeah, I'm quite into voluptuous. So, esque, like or after the style of. Thank you for that, Vitali. So, statuesque is definitely the answer. A cute woman, sweet and charming. Foxy, no. To me, foxy is beautiful and sexy. Thank you, Karandeep. Yeah, and angelic like a baby. Yeah, like an angel. The characteristics of an angel. Okay, so yes, definitely statuesque, like a statue. Architectural. So, yet Moringa, Dawn Kelor in Bahasa, Indonesia, was once believed to have such intense magical properties that a simple sprig, sapling, finger, offshoot of this broomstick of the gods would be used to brush the evil spirits away from the resting place of a deceased person. Rubenesque, I would say Rubensesque with an S, Vitali, but definitely. An elfin woman. Foxy, yes, I would say an elfin woman is foxy. Okay, so we've started to get some answers, and David goes for sprig. Grotty means dirty and not very nice. So the bar was pretty grotty. Vitali goes for sprig, Leffy for offshoot, Manji for sprig, Count for offshoot, Hadi says cherubic angelic, very definitely Hadi. A sprig of herbs, says double A. This is great. A sprig for Gertrudis. And a sprig for Patricia as well. I thought this one was going to give you lots of difficulty, but you seem to be doing. Suman goes for sprig as well. Her eyes were like diamonds. Is hyperbole. It's I think it's hyperbole and metaphor. A sprig reminds me of offspring. Sprig for Rizgar. Fernando says a ficture. Rubenesque women are all voluptuous. Rubens was the first artist who introduced body positivism in the history of art since the Bronze Age super overweight Venuses. I love those Venus statues, or Mother Earth or Gaia statues from the Bronze Age. And Roland goes for sprig. Offspring, sprout, twig, sprig. Okay. No, Rubensesque. I think the tree isn't Rubensesque. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. I think it's a perfectly fine word. Okay. No, you missed the S on it when you wrote it last time. You said Rubenesque, Vitali. Okay, a sprig, says Manny. A sprig, a branch with flowers. Thank you, Haddy. That's a great definition. A sprig of holly. Yeah, I put a sprig of parsley into the into the soup. Yeah, it's just like a little piece with leaves on it. Huh. Okay. Okay, so what is a sapling? Grotty, nasty, unpleasant. Brilliant. That was brilliant timing, Roland. A sapling is a young tree. a finger of this broomstick of the gods. I wouldn't use a finger. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say a finger of it at all. And an offshoot. Wow, David, thank you so much. That is so kind of you. Gosh. Thank you, thank you, thank you, David. Wow. Let's see. I guess it's only possible to use when we speak about overweight women in a very posh way. Rubensesque. Well, heh. Okay, yes, you did. My bad, Vitali. Sorry. My bad. I probably read it wrongly. Yo, thank you, David. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, a sprig. It's a little bit with leaves that you put in the soup. A bouquet garni has a sprig of various different things. Yeah? This is an offshoot of this project. It's something that comes off the side. Yeah? I think an offshoot, you could have an offshoot of a plant, is a bit growing beside it as well, or coming off the main stem, but a sprig. A sapling is a young tree, absolutely. Okay, so definitely a sprig. And next one's easy. Okay, so a sprig of herbs. Yeah? Yeah, but notice, what is it that you use here? With flowers. A buttonhole. Well, no, but I don't, well, so, I need to get it right, Vitali. Okay, so I thought the stream froze. It could have frozen. So, it's funny how we're caught up in words to describe women's bodies. Yeah, very definitely, because sex is always on our mind, double. And Camilla, it's smaller than a twig. It's a very small twig. Normally the twig is woody, Camilla, whereas the sprig, the base is green. But that's the idea. So, wow. I'd better get going. We've got evokes from Vitali, David Lutz for recalls. Dwarves. I think both are valid. Suman goes for evokes. Sanskrit is much more ancient. Double A goes for evokes. Vibes goes for evokes. Count Beautiful recalls. I love it. That's a perfect sprig, Leffy. A sapling's a young tree like a duckling. The video's gone blurry again. There's not much I can do about it. So I need to read because we've got lots of answers. Nanta, who graduated from Udyana University with a bachelor's degree in landscape architecture, grew up in a village near Ubud, considered Bali's spiritual heartland, and recalls, revokes, repeals, evokes, eating moringa regularly as a child, most often boiled in a spicy stew. Okay, so we've got a definite split here. So it recalls for Count Beauty, and Manny for recalls. Head through this for evokes. To invoke is to call. To evoke is something that brings up a feeling or brings up a memory. Rizgar for recalls, because a woman's body is beautiful. I love it, Patricia. A broccoli sprig from the broccoli tree. I love it. I bet your baby's going to start spritting broccoli out for you soon. And we'll crack on regardless. Joe for recalls, Renyard for recalls, Maria T for evokes, Luna for recalls, Pepax for recalls. So, what is the subject of this sentence? Heartland, the center of. Yeah, so I don't know, Kansas is the heartland of the United States. Recalls for Patricia. She recalls something from her childhood, says Manny. Hattie says recall. And double A's changed to recalls. Roland for recalls. To evoke, to produce or call up a feeling. And that's the point. Nanta is the subject. Yeah? With a bachelor degrees in landscape architect, grew up in a village near Ubud. And remembers. She remembers. Something that evokes. No. Thinking about her homeland evokes memories of. Okay, so something evokes, something stimulates a memory. It reminds you of it, gives you a feeling of it, makes you remember. Yeah? And so, you remind somebody. Yeah. Okay, but that's the idea, love literature. Help everyone in the world. It's a wonderful thing. By the way, David Lutz, thank you so much again. Invokes is to invoke is to call. Yeah, he invoked a spirit. He invoked a law. Recalls or reminisces about. That's the idea. To revoke, you revoke a law is to revoke a decision, is to say it's no longer valid. Music often evokes memories of. That's the idea, Roland. Yeah? I recall the music. To repeal a law. To cancel a law as well. Yeah? So here, evokes can't be right. She recalls. Invocation of the muse. Yes. Ooh, how do I invoke my muse? I wish I knew. The answer is definitely recalls. Okay, that's brilliant. Repeal and revoke. Yes, repeal and revoke. They're the same. You can revoke permission. You repeal a law. Yeah, I think repeal is more official. To stew. Like to trouble. He's been stewing over this. He's been thinking and worrying about it. Yeah, leave him to stew. Yeah, I think normally if people stew, they're getting angry and tense and worried about something. More recently, in his official capability, ability, capacity, endowment as botanical guru at the New Raffles, Bali, he has become fascinated by both the science and the traditional beliefs behind what he refers to as Bali's tree of life. Yes, to revoke, to make null and void, I love it. The Vedas has written the Mahabharata invoking Lord Ganesh. Ganesha of the elephants. Okay, so capacity for Vitali, capacity for Leffy, for David, for Double, for Count, for Manji. Manny has changed his mind. This one's a doddle. Yeah, this one's easy, absolutely. Okay, invoking the Lord. Invoking Lord Ganesh. Invoking Lord Ganesh. No two. Invocation of the Muse is a grim composition of early Dead Can Dance. Wow. Patricia goes for capacity, so does Pepax and Hattie. 'Tis a doddle, says Leffy. Gertrudis for capacity, Maria for endowment. Okay, Suman for capacity, and Manny says endowment, and Rizgar says capacity. In his official role, yeah, the word role would fit here perfectly. Official capacity, says Malak. Okay, an endowment is normally money that's given to someone, yeah, given to an organization. To be well endowed, to have enormous organs. I've got a brilliant video directly of that about a god in Kanyakumari in India. Yeah, a statue. And Roland says capacity. Okay, in somebody's official capacity. This is a very common collocation. Yeah, in their official role. Yeah, endowment, no. Endowment, it talks about other things, to endow, to give. Your official capacity, your official role doing something. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Here, to be well endowed. As they say, Leffy, hung like a donkey. Yeah, which is also another video I've got there. Okay, well endowed, I love it. Okay, and here we go, rock and roll for the next one. Moringa was traditionally a common part of the Balinese diet. He said it began to fall into decay, disuse, disrepair, obsolete, ruin, long before modern science latched onto, notice latched onto again, the spectacular nutritional benefits of what is now known in the West as a superfood. Okay, so, voluptuous women are well endowed, I love it. And Vitali, all sorts going on here. Well endowed is a double entendre. I love it, yes. It's very good. Well endowed. Physical attributes, I love it. So we're starting to get some answers. And Pepax goes for decay. Vibes for disuse, Vitali for disrepair, Maria T for disuse, Jomana for disuse, Leffy for disrepair, David Lutz for disuse, Renyard for disuse. Okay, or skills. Yeah, that would work definitely, Patricia. And double goes for obsolete, head through this for disuse, Suman for obsolete, Manny for disuse, Roland for disuse, Hadi for disuse, and so for Camillo. Obsolete or oblivion is love literature's answer. Abdul Karim goes for obsolete, and disuse for Fernando, disuse for Patricia. I got them good with this one, yeah. Disuse for Count, to fall into disuse, says Malak. I like that because I was looking at this word fall and thinking about uses. Here. It's a cake road. It's a piece of cake. It's a cake walk, Fernando. Another doddle. Okay, so disuse for Rizgar and for Luna as well. Okay, to fall into, definitely, disuse. To fall into disarray is disorder. The cavalry charged and they fell into disrepair. Firstly, obsolete, it can't be, because obsolete is an adjective. It would be obsolescence. Yeah, to fall into obsolescence, to make a noun. To fall into ruin. A building becomes ruin. No, you can't fall into an adjective. Exactly, Joe. Yeah, when they all copy the wrong answer, lol. Yeah, it's great, Leffy, I love it. Okay, to fall into decay. The Roman Empire fell into decay. Yeah, is to rot away. Yeah, if something decays, it becomes rotten and falls into pieces because it's rotten. If it falls into disuse, it's not used. A building falls into disrepair. A car falls into disrepair. To fall into disuse, a nice literary way of saying to be not used anymore. Okay, and we're going to have one more. Oh, I love it. This is the very last one. And this one's slightly different. This one you've got to guess the answers. To fall into oblivion. Yes, I think oblivion might work, love literature. Moringa became obsolete. Absolutely double. So, According to a 2013 study on traditional uses of Moringa oleifera published in the International Journal of Phytotherapy Research, the plant's dried leaves contain 7 times the vitamin C of... So what do we think has vitamin C? 9 times more protein than yogurt, 10 times more vitamin A than... and 15 times the potassium of bananas, and thought to have 17 times more calcium than, and 25 times more iron than. Fall into a state of obsolescence. That would work very definitely. It's a pleasure to have you here, King. So, David Lutz is starting to give us answers. It's charmed by its phonetics. So, Count Beauty goes for lemon. Hair. Carrot. Ooh, we've got lots of answers. I love this. Obsolescence. Thank you, Vitali. Double A goes for... Ooh, this is great. Okay. And we've got from Leffy... calcium and steak. Interesting. This is brilliant. I love this. This is a really, really, really good question. Notice not all native speakers are going to get this right, but these are the things that we normally have associated. Another big thank you to David Lutz for the donation as well. Okay, so I really ought to give you the answers here. Get through this. Oranges, carrots, spinach. Okay. I think head through this is a physician. Camillo goes for oranges. So I'm going to let you try. Calcium milk for Joe. An apple cabbage bread for Manny. Hi Fun and Lotties. This is brilliant. I love this question. So, Abdul Karim, orange, carrot, milk, red meat. And red meat, more iron than red meat. And Roland, lemon, carrot, milk, spinach. Calcium, milk or cheese, for head through this. Both milk products. I love this one. Okay, so I think I probably ought to give you the actual examples. Well, it's a good partnership. So normally in English, the British associate oranges with vitamin C, although I think lemons works very well. Vitamin A, halloumi. Ooh, that halloumi cheese, I love it. Vitamin A than carrots. Potassium in bananas. 17 more times calcium than milk. And 24 more times more. What does Popeye eat? What does Popeye the sailor eat? He eats spinach. And spinach very definitely is the one that they associate. Although, for example, Guinness, the beer. Oh, thank you very much. Oranges. So, there you go. All of the answers are there. Spinach, Suman. Thank you, Luna. Spinach, Leffy. Absolutely. Joe says spinach as well. Spinach, says Patricia. So, thank you all. Spinach for head through this as well. So, thank you all for coming. You've been a brilliant group. I will be back. Yeah, it's a fun question, this one is. You'll probably find most native speakers are going to get 3 out of 4. Spinach makes you stronger. Thank you, David Lutz. So, thank you all for coming. You've been a brilliant group. I will be back next week, God willing. Thank you for coming, Vitali. Thank you all for coming. And yes, enjoy Pepax. Great to have you, Pepax. Great to have you, Count. Take care of yourself. And Leffy. I don't know. Oh, God. It's not a widget. I can't remember the name of it, but it's quite new. Toodle Pip to you, Vitali. Thank you for coming, Rizgar. Thank you, John Ma. Thank you, Suman. Thank you, Love Literature. Great to have you all. To drink Moringa tea now. It's good for you. It's been a pleasure, Camillo. Thank you, Manny. A widget. There we go. Thank you, Leffy. Okay, Double A's enjoyed. Great to have you live. And thank you, Fernando. It's a widget. Okay, Double A says farewell. Thank you for coming, Joe. Have a good Sunday vibes and sleep well. And thank you, Head Through. This is a brilliant group. Thank you for coming, P. Thank you, Roland. Thank you, Maria T. The bees are fine. Thank you, Leffy. It's been a lovely stream. So, bye-bye, Manji. Great to have you. And good night to all of you. I will leave the chat.